I asked him too. I ain't getting anything for my birthday. So
Good.
hoping Santa comes through. All right, your name, sir?
Malcolm Bellamy, sir.
What happened to Mark Gerald?
Oh, okay.
All right,
I will
22 MM 8365. We rolled him for a plea offer to today. What do you want to do with him?
I will waive.
All right. Stay his bond at 500. And yeah, PC was already made. All right. No action. All right, Bellamy, you said?
Yes, sir.
All right, so you're here in 22 CF 14490 AO, one count of aggravated assault with a weapon, domestic, reviewed the affidavit, found probable cause, point the public defender. And then your name, sir?
Steve Bernard.
All right, sir, you're listed as the alleged victim. I think you guys are brothers as well, right? Is there anything that you want to tell me? Anything that you think the court should consider determining conditions of his release?
I want to say, because I was talking to the lady over the phone last night, that I don't feel in danger for my safety for him to come back home because we live together. And I'm not moving forward with the case. I'm not pressing charges or anything like that. I was just, I called him just to get him.
Did you know he just finished, was he doing time on robbery with a gun? Yeah. Did you just get out of DOC for that?
No, ma'am. No, me, no, sir.
That's all right. You can call me whatever. All right. You guys live together?
Yes, sir.
All right. State, do you have any questions for him?
No, Judge.
Vince, do you have any questions?
No, Judge.
All right. Any input from the state?
State would just ask for reasonable conditions. It appears on that case that you're referring to, he pled in 2017 to 3 years DOC with 3 years, followed by 3 years of probation. And I believe they revoked and terminated his probation
September 15th.
not long ago. 20, yeah.
Any input from the defense?
Just a reasonable bond, Your Honor.
All right. I'll set your bond at $3,500. I'm going to order no contact, but that could be amended by the judge that's assigned to that case. Actually, no hostile contact. But no in-person contact. So you guys can talk, text, whatever, but no in-person. Maintain separate residence. You can return one time with the assistance of law enforcement to retrieve any of your belongings.
It's not a no contact order. I mean, because it's kind of confusing. Talk to him, but he can't have no contact.
Well, it's no hostile contact.
Oh, so
It's no hostile contact, but with the addition of no in-person. That's all.
he don't have to sign a no contact. Okay. So
You just write no hostile, no in-person.
wait, I mean, but that he kind of confused.
Do you have any questions, sir?
Not in person.
Man, I'm moving, man.
All right. Thank you.
No hostile,
No in-person.
Go back and get you.
no in person. Okay. So you can talk to him on
Do
the
not,
phone.
yeah, do not possess any guns, knives, or weapons.
Okay.
Maintain a separate residence. One-time return. All right. Thank you, sir.
Did she tell you?
Excuse me. I'm the mother, and I own the house of residence. So I want to know, is he still allowed to come home? Because he have nowhere to live.
No, not for the time being. He's got to maintain a separate residence. He can come back one time to get some stuff to hang tight. And then
What is
you
time
can
being
contact the judge that's assigned to the case. And that judge can make any changes that you need.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Thank you. Ma'am, your name?
Tamara Jones.
All right, 22 CF 13770 AO, felony battery and battery dating violence. Via arrest warrant, according to your bond is set at no bond. There's no conditions. I'll appoint the public defender to represent you. Any input from the state?
Your Honor, state would just have you take into account that I believe is alleged that she was punching the surgical incision of where the the victim just had a liver transplant. I believe he also sustained injuries of a broken fifth metacarpal fracture. So state would just ask that you take that into account when setting her bond.
Any input for the defense?
Just a reasonable bond, Your Honor.
All right, I'll set count one at $2,500, count two at $100. No contact, no return, maintain separate residence, do not possess any guns, knives, or weapons.
And a one-time return with law enforcement.
That's fine. Who was here yesterday? Yeah, well, how did it go? That's why I'm asking who was here yesterday.
Oh, you mean them?
Yeah, you, anybody.
It was good.
Denise and Samara was in here. I don't
How
know.
did he do yesterday?
I guess nobody paid.
Huh?
Did nobody hear? How did Walker do yesterday, you guys?
She said good.
Oh, she did.
Yeah. Your name, ma'am?
Kimberly Pagan.
All right, ma'am, you're here in 22 CF 14466 AO, aggravated battery with a deadly weapon and battery domestic violence. Ms. Pagan, according to your financial affidavit, you do not qualify for the services of the public defender. The public defender is for individuals that are indigent that cannot afford a lawyer, okay? So the purpose of this hearing this morning is for me to review this arrest affidavit and make a determination if there is a valid reason for your arrest, and if I do that, then to determine your bond and conditions of release so that you can get out of jail, okay? So you can either go forward with this hearing today without a lawyer, or I can set conditions of your release so that you can get out of jail, or I can roll this 24 hours, give you 24 hours to hire a lawyer, but you'll stay in jail for the next 24 hours, and then we can have this hearing tomorrow.
I'll go with the first one.
You want to go today without a lawyer? Okay. All right, review the affidavit, found probable cause. Your name, ma'am?
Juliana Agosto.
All right, ma'am. Is there anything that you want to tell me, anything you think the court should consider in determining conditions of her release?
Yes, I would like to ask you to consider releasing her on pretrial on ROR. I believe at the time that this happened, she hadn't slept for a few days, and I don't think she's a danger to me or anyone else. I think she had, upon speaking to her family, she hadn't slept for days, and I think it might have been like a snapping kind of situation. But I would like you to consider that.
All right. State, do you have any questions for her? She didn't qualify for PTR, right?
No, she doesn't.
No, Your Honor.
All right.
It says she wasn't interviewed, is that correct?
But the charge doesn't qualify either.
Oh, okay, I see. That makes sense.
Any input from the state?
Your Honor, State would just ask that you set a reasonable bond.
All right, so I can't give her pretrial release. Under the pretrial release order, the charge disqualifies her for pretrial release, so I have to give her a bond. So, Ms. Pagan, I'm inclined to give you a bond of $1,500 on count one, $100 on count two, with conditions: no hostile contact with the alleged victim, do not possess any guns, knives, or weapons. Is that acceptable to you, or is there anything that you want to tell me, anything you think I should consider?
How long will I be in here?
Till you bond out.
So if I don't bond out,
I don't know. I'm not the judge assigned to your case.
okay.
All I do is I see you here, and then once you walk out of here, hopefully I never see you again, right?
Okay.
All right. Thank you. Thank you for being here, ma'am. Yep. Your name, sir?
My name is Donald Randall.
All right, 22 CF 14464 AO, aggravated assault, dating violence, one kind of battery, dating violence, one kind of resisting officer without violence. Review the affidavit, found probable cause, point the public defender. Any input from the state?
No, Your Honor.
Defense?
No, Your Honor.
All right, I'll set count one at $1,500, count two at $100, count three at $100. No contact, no return, maintain separate residence, do not possess any guns, knives, or weapons.
What my bond is?
$1,700?
Thank you.
All right, your name, sir?
Dan Serrano.
All right, sir, 22 CF 14496 AO, you're here on one kind of battery on a law enforcement officer, one kind of assault, domestic violence. Review the affidavit, found probable cause, appoint the public defender. Ma'am, your name?
Yes, my name is Dominique Scalzi. I'm his mother.
And is there anything that you want to tell me, anything you think the court should consider in determining conditions of?
Yes, so I want to let the judge know that I would like my son to receive treatment in a safe environment with, under the care of qualified physician, so that way he'll be consistent with his medication. Each time, Daniel gets agitated or he gets aggressive, I do report to his doctor, and a doctor would advise me to call 911 and have him Baker Act, and let them know that he's mentally ill. When I follow his instructions, it's just that sometimes Daniel refuses to take the meds. I don't sleep at night. It's because he's wandering in the middle of the night because he's not on the meds. And but when he's on the meds, he's great. We have no problem. He's always with family. and just never been in trouble with the law. But it's just that I need him to be consistent. I need him to be placed where he's consistent, because he just knows that 72 hours, okay, you know, I'm gonna be out. And then it's like an ongoing thing. And to be honest with you, you know, this could have been avoided, because a couple of weeks ago I had called 911 like I was advised. And when the officers came to my home, they stated that he didn't meet the criteria. So I couldn't understand that. So now here we are today, and I just really feel that, you know, Daniel he needs the care. I love my son. We all love him. And when he's on the meds, he's great. But when he's not on it, you know, it's not good.
State, do you have any questions for her?
So you would like him to return home?
To be honest with you, I'll always be there for him. He'll always be there. But I don't think right now, I just feel when I spoke to Dr. Parvez, you know, placing him in a facility to get the treatment that he needs, so he's consistent with the medication.
Okay. The reason I ask is because we cannot place him in a facility at this time. That would be later on down the road if we are able to do that.
Oh,
So-
okay. I was told
So for
to come
today, it
in
would have to
and
be-
mention that. But he's a great kid, never been in trouble. It's just the medication, it's not consistent. And when he's not on the medication, he's, you know, he lashes out on me. He's angry. I have to keep an eye on him. Sometimes he doesn't sleep at night. So it's an ongoing thing. And I just want him to take his medication. That's all I ask.
Any other questions?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Any questions from the defense?
No, Your Honor.
Any input from the state?
No, Your Honor, state, leave it within your discretion.
All right. Any input from the defense? All right, so, ma'am, I, as the state said, we can't put him in any kind of program now, so we're gonna have to release him or give him conditions to be released. And then, so you are or are not comfortable with him coming home?
He's got to be on the meds.
Okay. All right. I'll set his bond at 1,000 on count one, 100 on count two. No hostile contact. Do not possess any guns, knives, or weapons. Sir, as a condition of your release, you're going to have to take your medications as prescribed. If you do not take your medications as prescribed, we're going to pick you up and you're going to sit in here and we're going to give you your medication,
I'll tell
okay?
you one thing. I don't know why she don't believe me, because I've been taking medicine since New York, where I'm from, but I take it every day.
Okay.
I always told her. I always tell her I take it. I even show her when before I take it.
Then it's
Take it
not a
every day.
problem, right?
I don't know why she don't believe me. I take it every day. I just got it 2 days ago. New prescription received. I've been taking it ever since. I do it all the time, every month, every year, every day. So I don't know why. She don't trust me. I take it every day.
So, sir, if he doesn't take it again, then they will come and,
Yeah, if he doesn't take his medication as prescribed, that's a problem.
Yeah.
But it's
Right.
not a problem, right?
Yeah, if I don't take it and she calls y'all again, then y'all can come and take me and put me wherever you want, Lake
All right.
Mary, UBC, wherever, Aspire. But I take it every day, and I'm honest about
No
that.
problem.
Every day.
All right, thank you. Thank you for being here.
thank you.
Thank you.
Your name, ma'am?
Morning, Shavondra Wright.
Morning, 22 CF 14480 AO, aggravated battery, domestic review the affidavit, found probable cause, appoint the public defender, and your name?
Nakai Myers.
All right, ma'am, is there anything that you want to tell me, anything you think the court should consider?
I'm not in fear for my life. The tensions are just high. I believe she should be able to come back home.
All right, State, do you have any questions for her?
Has anything like this ever happened before? Has anything like this ever happened before?
Yes, once.
Okay, approximately how long ago would you say the last time was?
Back in June.
Thank you. That's all.
I'm sorry, did you say June or January?
June.
January?
June.
June, okay. All right, defense, any questions?
No questions, Your Honor.
Any input from the state?
No, Your Honor.
Any input from the defense?
Just a reasonable bond, Your Honor.
All right, I'll set your bond at $1,000. No hostile contact. No hostile contact means no physical abuse, verbal abuse, mental abuse. Do not possess any guns, knives, or weapons, okay? Thank you for being here. All right, so your name? All right, 22MM 8387 AO, battery domestic. Review the affidavit, found probable cause, point the public defender. Any input from the state?
No, Judge.
Defense?
This is Holly. Yes. He qualifies for pretrial release, Your Honor. I would ask for pretrial release.
All right, we'll give him PTR, no contact, no return, maintain separate residence, do not possess any guns, knives, or
Mr.
weapons.
So you don't have to pay.
That's it.
And could he have a one-time return to gather any belongings?
Sure.
Thank you.
No Spanish this morning?
We had the one.
One Spanish bonded and one arraignment. Somebody took care of it.
Yes. Awesome time.
Good start. What time you gonna be at ABC? I gotta go buy like some Christmas.
Don't have to pay no money.
I'll swing by.
I have to be there at 4.
4? Oh,
So you'll be home
I
probably.
sleep at 4.
This is a good thing, yay.
Yeah. Best I felt in 7 months. Yeah. All right, ma'am, your name?
Isaura Lopez.
All right, ma'am, you're here in 22MM 8398 AO, uncounted battery, domestic violence. Ma'am, according to your financial affidavit, you do not qualify for the services of the public defender. The public defender is for individuals that are indigent. So you have two options. Your first option is you can go forward today without a lawyer, and we can determine conditions of your release, or I can roll this case to tomorrow, give you 24 hours to find a lawyer, and then we can have this hearing tomorrow with a lawyer to determine conditions of your release. But understand, you don't get out of jail until you see me. You want to go forward today without a lawyer, or you want to roll this to tomorrow? Do you have any questions?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, I've never done this.
I know you haven't.
Yeah, I guess I'll, I don't know. I'll talk today.
You want to talk to me?
Yes, yeah, I'll talk.
All right.
Talk today.
All right, review the affidavit, found probable cause, state any input with regards to release.
She does qualify for PTR. State has no objection.
All right, ma'am, I'm inclined to release you on pretrial release, so you don't have to post any money to get out of jail. The conditions of your release are no contact, no return, maintain separate residence, do not possess any guns, knives, or weapons. Do you guys live together?
I do have a question about
Yeah.
I live at that, so my job is in my home, so I live there and I'm on the lease for it. But she isn't, and I don't have any other family here in Orlando. I'm not from Orlando originally, so she does have victim, as you guys say, does have family and yeah. So is there, because I have nowhere else to go or any money to go anywhere. Is there a way to like, you know, I did speak to an officer a few. I think last night, and they said that there was a thing called a no
Hostile contact.
Yeah. So is there a way for me to is there a way for you guys to contact that the victim, as you guys say, and see if they are willing to go home to their family, because she's not on my lease. I'm the one on the lease with my brother and his girlfriend. I don't have any other family or anywhere to go to live or anything like that.
So we contacted the victim at 3:42 this morning. We gave the alleged victim information to be here. Victim reports she does live at the address with the victim, but she has family locally if she needs to relocate elsewhere. So here's what I'll offer you. We'll give you the pretrial release. I mean, it's not, it's not a solution. Could be a solution, but it's not the solution. You can return one time with the assistance of law enforcement to retrieve your belongings. If law enforcement determines that the victim does not live there, then you can stay. But if the victim's living there, you gotta find someplace else to go temporarily. So I can't let you two live together, okay?
Is there, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
Yeah.
Is there a possibility, what if the, victim, as you guys say, what if she says, okay, I'm willing to go, would I still be able to stay?
Yeah, but you understand, you can't have any contact with this person right now.
Yes, of course.
The only contact that you're gonna have with them
with
is it when you go back with law enforcement, and law enforcement can make that determination. And if they're good with it, you know, if the victim, alleged victim talks to law enforcement and says, hey, I'll get out of here, then that's fine. All right, but since I don't have their input here, I can't make any decisions on their behalf, okay?
Okay, would I be able to, with the law enforcement present, or would I be able to also speak with her as well, with him present in order to?
No contact is no contact. So you
Right,
can't
right.
even ask a family member to contact this person.
Of course, yeah.
You can't text, you can't email, no contact, okay? All right, good luck.
So, what do I do from here? Like, what do I,
So we're gonna send you downstairs, they're gonna process all your paperwork, and then you're gonna get out of here.
So it's still, no return and maintain.
No guns, no knives, no return, maintain, one-time return. If law enforcement determines that the alleged victim doesn't live there, she could stay. Your name, ma'am? All right, what's your name?
Tatiana
And your last name, Tatiana?
Martinez.
All right, 22 MM 8394 AO, one kind of battery, domestic violence. Review the affidavit, found probable cause, point the public defender. Any input from the state?
She does qualify for PCR, state has no objection, and DCF was contacted.
And the defense?
Just ask for pretrial release, Your Honor.
All right, I'll give you a pretrial release. No contact, no return. Maintain separate residence. Do not possess any guns, knives, or weapons. Abide by any conditions that DCF imposes if DCF imposes any conditions.
Oh, they do live together. One-time return?
Yeah, one-time return. All right, ma'am, your name?
Marilyn Rivera.
All right, 22 MM 714 AO, one kind of battery, domestic violence, and review that affidavit, found probable cause, point the public defender, and you're also here in case number 211376, out of county warrant, out of Seminole County on a failure to appear. That bond on that, Seminole County is set at $2,000, stating the input with regards to release on the DV case here.
Just a reasonable bond, Your Honor.
Defense?
No one-time return, Your Honor.
All right, I'll set your bond at $500, no contact, no return, maintain separate residence, do not possess any guns, knives, or weapons. You can return one time with the assistance of law enforcement.
So
500.
I can get my things with a law enforcement
Yep.
officer?
Right. Yep.
So I have to call the police before I can go get my things?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you're gonna have to contact them. You call them. You could show up there, different ways, but yeah, you gotta contact them.
But if I show up without a police officer, then.
I'm talking about show up at the police station, talk to them.
That's fine.
What's your name, sir?
Donna Carter refused.
All right, Carter, 21 CF 1156, temporarily appoint waiver roll.
Waive, Your Honor.
Lake County, out of county warrant, no bond.
So I got
James Davis,
It's T.O.T. Volusia.
where did,
Lopez Romero.
Davis already got picked up by Volusia?
Yes.
Lopez Romero?
Bonded.
Bonded.
And Plaza Sanchez is mental health.
Oh, the next one I have is Pool. That's you? All right, 20 CF 579, out of county warrant, Willis. According to this is out of Lake County. Your bond on that is no bond. Lake County has 24 hours to come pick you up starting now. Do you have any questions?
24 hours?
24 hours starting now. All right. Thank you. Your name, sir? All right, 22 CT 6453 AO, drive on license suspended out of Lake County. According to this, your bond is set at $2,000. Lake County has 24 hours to come pick you up starting now. Do you have any questions? Or you can bond out.
How did can I get released on ROR?
You gotta ask Lake County. Lake County issued that warrant. I'm Orange County.
Okay, my last question is how's it set? Do they always pick up people within 24 hours?
Yeah, they're pretty good about it. Yeah, it's like a shuttle bus. It just kind of runs between the 3 or 4 counties here. They kind of just run every day.
So it's nonstop.
Huh? Yes, nonstop, yeah. Unfortunately. All right, your name, sir?
Jackson refused, Your Honor.
Jackson. 22 CF 6694 AO, violation of probation, and 22 CF 14489 AO. A bunch of new stuff. Temporarily appoint, waiver roll.
Waive, Your Honor.
All right, on the Violation of probation, the bond on that is set at no bond. On the new case, review the affidavit, found probable cause. I'll stay count 1, carrying a concealed weapon. Count 2, I'll reduce to 150, count 3, 150, and count 4, $100. All right, sir, your name?
My name is Wentworth Joseph.
All right, 15 CF 6387AO, violation of probation, aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. According to this warrant, your bond is set at where is it? Am I missing it? Yeah, but where's the bond on it? Am I missing something? Where's the bond on this?
It doesn't show on the warrant.
What is it?
It doesn't show on the warrant.
It doesn't, right? I'm not seeing it. Is anyone?
You see it? Cause I don't.
I mean, I know I miss a lot of things, but I'm not going crazy on that one.
No, you're not.
Okay.
There's I see 1,000 on the failure to appear. Is that right? I have none on the violation of probation. Right? Is that what you see?
You looking at Joseph or Memphis? You can't.
This is Matthew.
Joseph.
Oh, that's why.
Joseph.
I was wrong.
All right, so your bond set at no bond on this case, okay? Violent felony offender of special concern, so he's a no bond guy. All right, I'll appoint the public defender to represent you. Your name, sir?
Name Mathis.
All right, sir, 2020 CF 10433AO, violation of probation on a domestic battery strangulation. According to this warrant, your bond is set at no bond. I'll appoint the public defender to represent you. Does he have this other case too? Yep. You're also here in 22 MM 3006AO on a failure to appear on a petty theft. Your bond on that is set at 1,000. I'll appoint the PD on that one if I didn't already. Thank you. Your name, sir?
Ortiz.
All right, sir, 21 CF 101BO, violation of probation on child neglect. According to this warrant, your bond is set at no bond. I'll appoint the public defender to represent you. All right, sir, your name?
Jonathan Ortiz.
All right, sir, 2020 CT 1277AO, violation of probation on a DUI. According to this, your bond is set at no bond. I'll appoint the public defender on that case for you, okay?
And what happened with Ms. Plaza Sanchez?
The bond was ROR.
And it was RR, okay.
Mental health,
already-
ROR,
Yeah.
33. Ooh, that's light too, isn't it? Are we ready on the 33?
Yes, Judge.
All right. Lindsay Burton, 22 MM 7626AO.
Granted, notice and on filing.
Say again, the 15th?
Sorry.
Granted?
Yes.
Wilkember Fernand, 22 CF 13198AO.
Granted, it was no build.
All right. Malloy, 22 CF 13190AO.
Denied, it was filed.
Billy Neal, 22 CF 11749AO.
Granted, it was no info.
Resendez, 22 CF 13187AO.
Granted, notice and on filing.
Rivera, 22 MO 1257AO.
Granted, the city had no objection.
All right. Rodriguez de Leon, 22 CF 11366AO.
Denied, and information was filed.
Denied. And Worrell, 22 CF 13159AO.
Granted, notice and on filing.
That's everything for the first session?
Two.
All right, you're here in 22 MM 8395AO, trespass on property after warning. Were you interested in the services of the public defender? Did you want to represent yourself or hire a private attorney?
I'm going to represent myself.
All right. I reviewed that affidavit, found probable cause. I'll stay your bond at $500. State, do we have an offer in this case?
Not this time, Your Honor. I wanted to go downtown to see some.
Not this time.
All right. All right, ma'am, your bond's set at $500. You understand?
No.
Your Honor?
No, yeah, I know, yeah. All right, do you have any questions, ma'am?
No question.
Okay. All right, how much is your bond?
500.
Okay, what's the charge that you're here for?
Trespassing.
All right. Who am I?
What?
Who am I?
Lawyer. No, judge. I'm
Judge? Okay, all right.
sorry. No.
Yeah.
So I don't have money.
Oh, that's what I thought. As a friend of the court, Your Honor, we're asking for an ROR, in this case, based on the facts. And the reason why the state is sending it, hoping that it goes downtown to be reviewed. She does have a telephone, and as a friend of the court, I would just ask for an ROR.
I mean, she
has no
just got
failures.
convicted of trespassing last week.
She has no failures to appear, Your Honor. She's unemployed. Based on the facts in this case, she was in a hotel room, and if you look.
Set her bond at 100.
Okay.
Thank you.
He said it at 100.
Okay. 500? Okay.
100.
One? Oh, sure.
Yep, good luck.
Let's see it pro se.
Yeah. I'd like to call her a toga. Your name?
S.C. Hinbest.
21 CF 12338 AO, failure to appear, aggravated battery with a deadly weapon. According to this, you failed to appear for a competency hearing on 7/20. Your bond set at $500. I'll appoint the public defender if you don't already have a public defender, okay?
Yes, sir.
Your name, sir?
Sir, I was gonna ask for a ROR bond.
I gave you, well, the judge assigned to the case gave you a $500 bond, okay?
Okay.
So I'm just telling you what that judge did.
Oh, all right.
All right, good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you. Your name, sir?
Michael Scott Knight.
All right, 22 CF 14420 AO, indecent exposure of sexual organs, second or subsequent offense. Via arrest warrant, according to this, your bond is set at $1,500. I will appoint the public defender, and I'll stay the bond, okay? Your name, sir?
Reginald Moore.
All right, sir, you're here in 22 CF 14459 AO, burglary of a conveyance, grand theft, third degree, greater than 5,000, less than 10,000, criminal mischief. Via arrest warrant, according to this, your bond is set at $1,500 on count one, $1,500 on two, $150 on three, with conditions no return to the scene of the offense. I'll set count one at $3,500. I'll reduce count two to $150, and stay count three and the conditions, and I will appoint, were you interested in the services of the public defender? Did you want to represent yourself or hire a private attorney?
I have a private attorney.
Do you know who you're going to hire?
You already hired Spencer Rose.
Okay. All right. All right. Do you have any questions?
Sir.
All right. Thank you.
Get on time.
Your name? All right, ma'am. You're here in 21 CF 12671 AO, failure to appear on an aggravated battery with a deadly weapon. According to this, your bond's set at no bond. You failed to appear for a trial management conference on June 24th of this year. I'll appoint the public defender to represent you if they haven't already been appointed. Your name, sir?
Brown.
All right, 22 MM 8392 AO, trespass on property after warning. Sir, according to your financial affidavit, you do not qualify for the services of the public defender, so I cannot appoint a lawyer to represent you, okay? All right, your bond on this case, having found probable cause, set at 500. Is there an offer?
Yes, Your Honor, state did convey an offer to Mr. Brown of an adjudication of guilt, credit time served, and no return to AKT Enterprises.
You want to accept that offer, sir? Do you have any questions, or do you want to walk out of here with your bond?
I won't accept it.
All right. Do we have a plea form for him?
Yes, Your Honor.
Is this your signature on this form?
Yes, sir.
All right, you pleading guilty or no contest? I'll accept your no contest plea. I'll adjudicate you guilty, sentence you to 2 days of credit for 2 days. Your court costs, I'll give you a year, and there'll be a no return to AKT Enterprise at 6350 Forest City Road, okay?
Sir.
30 days to appeal. Good luck.
No.
All right, sir, your name?
Benjamin Cherosov.
All right, 22 MM 8399 AO, trespass on property after warning. Reviewed the affidavit, found probable cause, point the PD. Do we have an offer?
The offer from The state is an adjudication, credit time served, no return to 50 East Central Boulevard. And court costs, Mr. Chairsaw would like to accept and enter plea of no contest.
All right.
He appointed us, sorry.
All right, sir, is this your signature on this form? Yes?
Yes.
All right. Guilty or no contest?
No contest.
No contest.
I'll accept your no contest plea. Thank you. Sentence you to a day with credit for a day, adjudicate you guilty. Costs, I'll give you a year, and there'll be no return to 50 East Central Boulevard, okay? 30 days to appeal. Good luck. Have it for you. Your name, sir?
Roderick Jones.
All right, you're out on bond on a possession of cocaine, possession of meth, trespass, 22 CF 14165 AO. Also out on bond on a battery, 22 MM 7093 AO. Here today, 22 MM 8391 AO, trespass. Review the affidavit, found probable cause, point the public defender. Do we have an offer?
Yes, state did convey an offer to Mr. Jones of an adjudication of guilt, credit time served, and no return to the 7-Eleven.
And he would like to accept and enter plea of no contest.
All right, sir, is this your signature?
Yes, sir.
Did you read it?
Yes, sir.
Guilty or no contest?
No contest.
I'll accept your no contest plea. I'll adjudicate you guilty, sentence you to 2 days with credit for 2 days. Your costs, I'll give you a year to pay, and there'll be a no return to 4011 West Oak Ridge Road. How close is that to the ABC there on Oak Ridge and OBT? Do you know? 3 blocks? 3 feet?
How many days?
What's the address of that
You got
ABC?
2 days?
2 with 2.
I don't know what's the address. I don't know.
All right.
I don't work there. What you
How
talking
close is it to that CVS there right down the corner? It's that close, see that? Thank you. 30 days to appeal. Good luck. I'll be there at 4 o'clock today,
You a
so I'm not taking a nap.
And no action on our.
All right, your name?
What about it? I just
Oh, no action.
Okay.
Jesus.
Sir, your name?
Jimmy Seymour.
Oh, I'm sorry, ma'am. 2221 CF 7095 AO, possession of cocaine, out on bond, 22 MM 8396 AO, battery, here today. Reviewed the affidavit, found probable cause, appoint the public defender. I'll stay the bond with conditions, no contact with the alleged victim, and I'll take no action on the out on bond.
This is a battery.
Sir, in the back, what's your name?
That's what I'm saying. So
All right. Your ROR on a possession of cocaine and a possession of drug paraphernalia, 22 CF 14287 AO. Here today in a petty theft, 22 MM 8388 AO. Reviewed that affidavit, found probable cause, point the public defender. Do we have an offer on Mr. Roberson's case?
No, Your Honor, it's enhanceable.
All right. I'll stay your bond and I'll take no action on the case that you're out on ROR.
You can pay.
Your name, sir?
He doesn't, you don't.
2020 MM 2153 AO, you're here on 3 failure to appears on a battery, criminal mischief, and a trespass. According to this, you failed to appear for trial on April 13th of this year. Your bond on all those is set at no bond. I'll appoint the public defender. I'll give you a bond of $5,000 on count 1 and $2,000 on 2 and $2,000 on 3, okay? Your name, sir? All right, sir, 22 MM 284 AW on a failure to appear on a petty theft retail. According to this, your bond is set at $1,000. You failed to appear for a plea and sentence on September 27th of this year.
And state did convey an offer to Mr. McAllister of a withhold, credit time served, ICC class within 60 or D6. Cost of investigation to OPD in the amount of $136.73, and no return to the Walmart at 10500 West Colonial.
And he would like to accept and enter plea of no contest.
All right. All right, sir, is this your signature on this form?
Sir.
You read it?
Yes, sir.
Guilty or no contest?
No contest.
I'll accept your no contest plea. I'll withhold adjudication. Do we know how many days he has? He's got 2 today. Did you get arrested originally on this or just a notice to appear?
You know how much you got? I don't
You
know.
remember how many days you had in there?
3 days.
3? Sentence you to 5 with credit for 5. Court costs and cost of investigation, $136.73 to OPD, a year to pay, and there'll be no return to the Walmart at 10500 West Colonial Drive, okay?
I think you got more than.
You got more? Hold on, clerk says you got more than 5. Let's give you credit for everything.
They don't let me know so I can work it up. They just.
Just drop it on you like that.
Yes, okay, so he got 3 days and then. Issue the Campions. Let me see. He got 5 days.
All right, 5. Cinco.
So what was the
Cinco
OPD?
Diaz.
OPD what?
136.73, I believe, OPD.
136.73.
136.73?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
And what was some other thing she was saying? OCC?
Oh, ICC within 60 days, impulse control class. Or D6 or suspend his license.
ICC within 60 days?
Yeah, or T6.
What's T6?
D6, suspend the license.
60 days. What's a D6?
This is the next.
Okay,
It's a
how-
license
I mean, how am I right? So I'm doing ICC or D6 and
60 days.
D6 within 60 days.
Let's see it.
ICC, I don't know, just sign it. I have to do it at the end, Judge.
Do it at the end? You're just gonna give that back to me? What do you want me to do with this?
Just sign this, because I have to write it out because information was found, so it's not like I could do it on the IA paperwork. I wish I would have needed it. Okay.
All right. Your name?
Melvin Hicks.
What happened to Louis Pizza Pisani?
Bonded, Your Honor.
Bonded? Your name again, sir?
Melvin Hicks.
All right, 22 MO 137A AO, open container.
State did convey an offer of an adjudication credit time served.
He would like to accept an enter plea of no contest.
All right. Is this your signature on this form?
Yes, yes, sir.
Guilty or no contest?
No contest.
I accept your no contest plea, adjudicate you guilty, sentence you to 2 with credit for 2. Your costs, I'll give you a year to pay, okay? 30 days to appeal. Good luck. Your name, sir?
Alfredo Rivera.
22 MO 1379 AO, urinating or defecating in public. I don't remember which one it was. We have an offer.
It was urinating in this case, and the offer is an adjudication credit time served.
You want to accept that offer?
Yes, he's an enter plea of no contest.
All right.
Sorry.
Oh, sorry, that's right. Is this your signature?
Yes, sir.
Guilty or no contest?
No contest.
Accept your no contest plea, adjudicate you guilty, sentence you to 2 days with credit for 2 days. Your costs, I'll give you a year to pay. 30 days to appeal. Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you. Your name, sir?
Morning, sir.
Good morning. I'm sorry, what was your name?
Michael Bernard Woods.
All right, thank you, sir. 22 MO 1380 AO, open container.
Judge, I mean to cut you short. My
Well,
ears.
you did, but that's all right. What's up?
Pick up a little louder because I got ringing ears. Sir.
Yeah. You're here for an open container.
Yes, sir.
Do you have an offer?
Yes,
Guilty,
Your
Your
Honor.
Honor.
State did convey an offer of an adjudication credit time served.
He's signing.
And he would like to accept.
Can you hear me? Perfect. They don't want me to yell.
You got something? Thank you.
Is this your signature?
Yes, yes.
Pleading guilty or no contest?
No contest, sir.
Accept your no contest plea, adjudicate you guilty, sentence you to 2 days with credit for 2. I'll give you a year to pay your costs, 30 days to appeal. Good luck.
Say that again.
You're gonna get released today and you have a year to pay.
Pay how much?
$223 plus a $10, $233. Good luck.
Thank you, sir.
Expensive, drink.
Anamaro Cortez bonded and Dandy Ventor bonded also.
Wonderful. Your name? All right, 22 CF 14488 AO, grand theft, 3rd degree of a motor vehicle. Review the affidavit, found probable cause, appoint the public defender, and I'll set your bond at, I'll state at 1,000.
Your Honor, State would ask for no contact with the victim.
All right, no contact with the alleged victim. Your name, ma'am? 22 CF 5729 AO, failure to appear on a petty theft with 2 priors. According to this, your bond is set at no bond. You failed to appear for a hearing on August 25th of this year, okay?
Chamberlain's bonded, Your Honor.
Chamberlain's bonded. What's your name, sir?
Martin Calante.
All right, 22 CF 13922 AO, vehicular homicide, failure to render aid, leaving the scene of a crash with death, and tampering with physical evidence.
Your Honor.
Are you interested?
This is the case that I believe he hired counsel in Miami that was gonna be appearing virtually. However, I don't believe he's still on. Can we just move it to the end of session? Just to
Sure.
give the attorney more time.
Did you hire a lawyer?
Yes, I did.
Who'd you hire?
Luis Reynoso.
Okay. Do we have any attorneys online? All right, we'll roll you to the end. Hang tight. We're waiting for your lawyer to log on.
Sounds good.
Your name, sir?
Michael Navasto.
22 CF 14481 AO, possession of methamphetamine, trespass on property after warning. Review the affidavit, found probable cause, point the public defender, and state count 1 and reduce count 2 to $100. No return to the scene.
What does that mean then?
Tornado, Your Honor, is in the hospital.
All right, 22 CF 14484 AO, lewd and lascivious and indecent exposure, temporarily appoint, waiver roll.
Waive.
All right, state any input with regards to release, having found PC?
Your Honor, State would just ask that you take into account that he does have a prior failure to appear and prior history. However, none of it is sexual in nature. And count 1 is an F2, so State would just ask that you set a bond in keeping with the level of that charge.
Any input from the defense?
Just a reasonable bond, Your Honor.
I'll set count 1 at $5,000, count 2 at $150. No contact with the alleged victims, no return to that scene. It was a park. Your name, sir?
Kenneth Joel Gandarilla Galarza.
All right, out on bond on a resisting officer without violence, 22 MM 6642 AO. Here today in 22 CF 14483 AO. Driving while license suspended or revoked with knowledge. Reviewed that affidavit, found probable cause, point the public defender, and I'll stay your bond at $2,500, and I'll take no action on the case that you're out on bond.
Thank you.
Your name, sir?
Your Honor, Gates refused.
Gates refused, 22 CF 14356 AO. Temporarily appoint, waiver roll.
Waive.
All right. The arrest warrant, I'll stay the bonds, and the conditions: do not possess or use drugs or narcotics without a valid prescription. Your name?
Joe Helm Mormon.
All right, sir. 22 CF 14455 AO. Battery on a uniformed licensed security officer and resisting officer without violence. Review that affidavit, found probable cause, point the public defender, and I'll reduce count 1 to $4,000 and count 2 to $100.
Your Honor, State would ask for no contact with that security guard and no return to the Wyndham Resort.
No return to the scene, okay? No contact with that individual. Your name, sir? All right, you're out on bond on a possession of a weapon by a convicted felon. 21 CF 3104 AO. Here today, 22 CF 14491 AO, possession of oxycodone or Percocet. According to your financial affidavit, sir, you do not qualify for the services of the public defender, so I cannot appoint a lawyer to represent you, okay? So you're here on a new charge, and then there's the ability for me to revoke your release in the old charge. So there are some stakes on the line here. Do you want to go forward today without a lawyer, or do you want me to roll this 24 hours for you to hire a lawyer? What's the status of that 21 case?
He does have private counsel on it, and it's just been continually rolling.
Yeah, who's the attorney on that one?
Brent Lightfoot.
Okay. Is Brent private? He was a
went-
PD.
He went private.
He's private?
Yes.
All right. You want me to roll this to tomorrow so you can call Mr. Lightfoot to come represent you? Or do you want to go forward today knowing that I might revoke your release in that case?
I'm not understanding.
So when you're out on bond, right, because you're out on bond on this possession of a weapon,
Yes.
if you commit a new crime, then I can revoke your bond and you sit in jail. right? I'm not saying I'm gonna do it, I'm not saying I'm not gonna do it, but it's a possibility.
Yeah.
So we can go forward with this hearing today and I can make that determination now without a lawyer. Or I can roll this to tomorrow so you can call Mr. Lightfoot and he can come stand next to you and represent you at this hearing.
Well, you can make a decision now.
You want me to do it now? Okay. All right, on the new case, I'll set your bond at $1,000, and then what's the status of the case? Is that on bond?
It's currently set for,
All right, but it's pending. I'll revoke your release in that case, set a new bond of $7,000, okay? So I revoked your release, but I gave you a bond so you can bond out on it.
Okay, yeah.
All right, thank you. Your name, sir?
Eric Hendon.
All right, 22 CF 14493 AO, possession of MDMA ecstasy, reviewed the affidavit, found probable cause, appoint the public defender, I'll stay your bond.
What's this?
Your name, sir?
Tarquarius Javante Levy.
All right, out on bond 22 CF 11130 AO, possession of cocaine, or possession of a concealed weapon or firearm by a convicted felon, possession of ammunition, resisting officer without violence. You're here today in 22 CF 14497 AO, conspiracy to traffic in 10 grams or more of methamphetamine, MDMA, possession of cocaine with intent to sell or deliver, possession of cannabis with intent to sell or deliver, sale and delivery of Xanax, resisting officer without violence, possession of drug paraphernalia. Reviewed the affidavit, found probable cause, appoint the public defender, and I'll stay count 1 at $1,000. I'll reduce count 2 to $150. Count 3 to $150.
Judge Count, what is it account?
It's 100.
Is it 1,000? I have it at 100.
No, it's 100,000.
100.
you said 1,000.
You said
Oh,
1,000.
100,000. Stay it at 100,000. Thank you. It's a couple of zeros. Reduce count 2 to $150. 3 to $150. 4 to $150. 5 to $100. 6 to $100. And I'll revoke his release in the case that he's out on bond, let the judge assign to that, determine what a reasonable bond is.
Your Honor, we just asked for no contact with the co-defendant.
Yeah, what was her name? Kayla something?
Keila Spina?
No contact with Carla Spina.
And Your Honor, he was arrested in September. No information has been filed on that out on bond, so I ask that you take no action.
I'm gonna revoke it. Let the judge assign it, make that determination if that's an issue or not.
Oh, and you are appointing us on that one, correct,
Yes.
too? Thank you.
All right, your name? All right, 22 CF 12610 AO, grand theft, 3rd degree, greater than 300, less than 10,000. This is by probable cause order. According to this, your bond is set at $1,500. With conditions, no contact directly with the victim, co-defendant, or witness, and do not return to the scene of the offense. I'll appoint the public defender to represent you. Your name, sir?
Juwan Oxel.
22 CF 14479 AO, possession of cocaine with intent to sell or deliver with a firearm, possession of a firearm in the commission of a felony, carrying a concealed firearm. Reviewed that affidavit, found probable cause, appoint the public defender. You're also here in 22 CF 14478 AO, possession of cocaine, resisting or tampering with physical evidence and resisting officer without violence. Review that affidavit, found probable cause, appoint the public defender, state any input with regards to release on count 1 in the first case.
Your Honor, given that it is a PBL, so it would ask that you hold him no bond.
Possession of cocaine with intent to sell or deliver with a firearm is a PBL?
I believe so, yes. Oh, no, it's not dropping. I'm sorry, it's not.
Okay, I was gonna say, I was gonna.
We'll leave it within your discretion, Your Honor.
Any input from the defense?
Just a reasonable bond, Your Honor, considering he has no history.
Yeah, I'll set count 1 at $10,000, count 2 at $150, count 3 at $150, and then on the second case, I'll stay your bond on count 1, reduce count 2 to $100, and count 3 to $100. Your name, sir?
My name is Brian Figueroa.
All right, sir, 22 CF 14474 AO, grand theft, 3rd degree of a motor vehicle. Review the affidavit, found probable cause, appoint the public defender, I'll stay your bond.
sorry, can you please repeat that?
Your bond set at $1,000. All right? All right. We have any private attorneys online? Anyone from Miami? No? All right. Your name, sir?
Jonathan Rivera.
All right, 2022 CF 14375 AO, sexual battery on a person 18 years or older via arrest warrant. According to this warrant, your bond is set at no bond with conditions, no victim contact. Were you interested in the services of the public defender? Did you want to represent yourself or hire a private attorney?
I have an attorney,
Who's your lawyer?
Sarah D. Paulman.
All right. Is she going to be here today, do you know?
She's supposed to be here for my.
Okay. All right. What time did you tell her to be here at?
She told me she's gonna keep, I didn't speak to her until I got arrested, but she told me she was gonna keep checking the court records and show up for my first appearance.
Okay. All right. Yeah, we don't have any attorneys online yet or here. She hasn't done anything yet? Okay. All right, I'm gonna roll you to the end here, although we only have about 3 or 4 more cases, and we'll see if she shows up, and then we can figure out what you wanna do. All right? Hang tight for a few minutes. Your name, ma'am? All right, 22 CF 14499 AO, conspiracy to traffic in MDMA ecstasy greater than 10 grams, conspiracy to sell or deliver cocaine, conspiracy to sell or deliver cannabis, conspiracy to sell or deliver a controlled substance. Review the affidavit, found probable cause, appoint the public defender. I'll set count 1 at 25,000. Count 2 I'll reduce to 150, count 3 150, count 4 150, and no contact with Takarius Levy, okay? You understand? Okay. All right, thank you.
Starling refused, Your Honor.
Starling refused, 22 CF 14456 AO, temporarily appoint, waiver roll.
Waive.
Reviewed, found PC, I'll stay count 1, reduce count 2 to 150. Your name?
Thomas.
All right, you're here in 2022 CF 14494 AO, possession of a weapon, firearm by a convicted felon carrying a concealed firearm resisting officer without violence. Reviewed that affidavit, found probable cause, point the public defender. I'll set count 1 at $4,000, and then count 2 150, count 3 100. Your name? 22 CF 14485 AO, aggravated assault with a weapon. Reviewed the affidavit, found probable cause, appoint the public defender, and I'll set your bond at $2,500. Do not possess any guns, knives, or weapons, and no contact with the alleged victim, okay? All right. Do we have any private attorneys online? All right, your name again, sir?
Martin Calante.
All right, so we don't have a lawyer online. You want me to roll this to tomorrow morning for you? You can tell your lawyer to show up at 9 a.m.?
It's still over this.
Okay.
Oh, it'll still make sense.
All right, and then he can log on to the link. So we're online right now. There's nobody online, but things can happen. So I'll roll you to tomorrow at 9 a.m., okay?
Sounds good.
All right. Anyone online? Any attorneys online? You want to go forward without your lawyer today, or you want me to roll it to tomorrow morning at 9?
She was supposed to be here at 1 o'clock. I can't do the 1 o'clock.
You're the last case.
I'm sorry?
You are the last case of the day.
I'm gonna wait for my lawyer, so I'll do it.
All right, tell her 9 a.m. tomorrow morning, okay? All right, we'll see you then. Anything else from the state?
No, Judge.
PD?
No, Your
Anyone? For the good of the world? No?
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Jaime Sotomayor, certified federal interpreter already sworn. 1 second while I connect.
Sure.
Is this for IAs?
Yes.
Okay, we can do those over the speakers.
Correct. All right. First case I've called is Kevin Baez Ortiz, case 22 CF 3573. Sir, can you state your name and date of birth, please?
Muy bien, por favor, señor, díganos su nombre y fecha de nacimiento.
Kevin Baez, nació el 30 de septiembre del 95.
Kevin Baez, born September 30th, 95.
All right, sir, I am appointing the public defender to represent you today.
Muy bien, caballero, le estoy nombrando al defensor público para que lo represente en este caso.
You're here on a charge of aggravated battery.
Usted está aquí por un cargo de agresión agravada.
I have reviewed the charging affidavit and determined that there is probable cause for the charge.
Yo he revisado la declaración jurada de los cargos y he determinado que hay causa probable.
Bond will be set at $2,500.
La fianza se pone en $2,000.
As a condition of bond, you are not to have any contact with the alleged victim.
Y como condición de la fianza no puede tener contacto con la alegada víctima.
You are not to return to the scene of the alleged crime.
No puede regresar a la escena del alegado crimen.
And you are to maintain separate residences from the alleged victim.
Y tiene que mantener residencia por separado de la alegada víctima.
Anything further from the state? Okay, hold on.
No, Your Honor.
Okay, really quickly before you leave, sir, the bond, just to clarify, $2,500.
Y para aclarar, la fianza son $2,500.
And I'm going to order that with PTR, with pretrial release.
Y voy a ordenar que sea con las condiciones de la oficina de antelación a juicio.
Best of luck to you, sir.
Y le deseo suerte.
Okay, you're free to. All right, Mr. Wasson, the next interpreter case that you have?
Yes, Your Honor. Elvin Cordova Hernandez.
Okay. Elvin Cordova Hernandez. Good afternoon, sir. Can you state your name and date of birth?
Buenas tardes, por favor, su nombre y fecha de nacimiento.
Elvin Cordova Hernández, 11/05/1986.
All right, sir. I am appointing.
Elvin Cordova Hernandez, 11/05/1986.
I am appointing the public defender to represent you today.
Le estoy nombrando a la oficina del defensor público para que lo represente hoy.
You are here on a charge of trafficking in cocaine.
Usted se encuentra aquí por un cargo de tráfico de cocaína.
28. I've reviewed the charging affidavit and determined that there is probable cause for the charge.
Yo he revisado la declaración jurada de los cargos y he determinado que hay causa probable para este cargo.
Bond is going to be set at $50,000.
La fianza se impone en $50,000.
As a condition of bond, you are not to have any drugs or non-prescription medications.
Y como condición de la fianza no puede tener ninguna droga ni medicina que no tenga receta.
Anything further from the state?
No, Your Honor.
Defense? No, Your Honor. Best of luck, sir.
Muy bueno, pues buena suerte, caballero. The interpreter needs the case number.
Yes, sir. 22 CF 3574.
74.
And the next one, Your Honor, is Wilfredo Munez Torres.
All right, Wilfredo Munez Torres. Good afternoon, sir. Can you state your name and date of birth?
Buenas tardes, caballero. Por favor, su nombre y fecha de nacimiento.
Wilfredo Muñiz Torres.
Wilfredo Muñiz Torres.
29 de octubre 1980.
October 29, 1980.
All right, sir. I'm appointing the public defender to represent you today.
Muy bien, caballero. He nombrado al defensor público para que lo represente el día de hoy.
You're here on an Ada County warrant arrest for possession of drug paraphernalia.
Usted está aquí por una orden de arresto de fuera de este condado por posesión de parafernalia de droga.
It's a Charlotte County warrant. Bond was set at 0. It's going to stay at 0, and you'll be transferred to Charlotte County.
Es una orden de arresto del condado de Charlotte. Allá se le impuso 0 fianza, así que va a permanecer detenido hasta que sea transferido a Charlotte County.
Best of luck to you, sir.
Le deseo suerte. Do we have a case number?
Do we have a case number? It's out of county, so I don't know.
That's okay.
We can give it to you shortly. We'll come back to you on that. All right.
The last one, Your Honor, is Jose Rojas Cruz.
Okay, good afternoon, sir. Can you state your name and date of birth?
Buenas tardes, caballero, por favor, su nombre y fecha de nacimiento.
José Andrés Rojas Cruz, el 20 de marzo del 2001.
José Andrés Rojas Cruz, March 20th, 2001.
Okay, sir. I am appointing the public defender to represent you today.
Muy bien, caballero. Yo he nombrado a la oficina del defensor público para que lo represente el día de hoy.
You're here on a charge of fleeing and eluding law enforcement with lights and sirens activated.
Usted está aquí por un cargo de haber huido y evadido a las autoridades mientras ellos tenían las luces encendidas.
Set a bond at $1,000.
Estoy imponiendo una fianza de $1,000.
Anything further from the state?
I might have missed it, Your Honor, but the court finds PC.
Yes, I apologize. I have reviewed the charging affidavit and determined that there is probable cause for the charge.
Sí, y yo he revisado la declaración jurada de los cargos y estoy determinando que existe causa probable para este cargo.
Anything further from the state?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
Mr. Wasson, anything further?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. Best of luck, Mr. Cruz. Rojas Cruz.
Muy bien, pues eso es todo. Muchas gracias, señor Rojas Cruz. And the interpreter is the case number.
Yes, sir. 22 CF 3579.
3579.
Did we find anything for the last case? Did you catch that?
2225. Okay, thank you.
Any additional interpreter cases, Mr. Wasson?
If the interpreter could just ask the room.
Mr. Sotomayor? Yeah.
Yes, sir. Si hay alguien que necesita traducción en español, por favor, levante la mano.
It appears not, Your Honor.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Sotomayor. Have a wonderful afternoon.
You too, sir.
All right. Jermaine Simon. Are you sure this is out of county? What county? Okay. 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 All right. Good afternoon, sir. Can you state your name and date of birth?
Jermaine Simon, 12/21/1984.
Okay, Mr. Simon, I'm appointing the public defender to represent you today. You are here on a charge of failure to obey law enforcement officer's order to stop. My understanding it's an Orange County case. State, any information you can provide on that? I just want to make sure this isn't out of county.
That's the information I have as well, Your Honor.
Okay. So I've reviewed the charging affidavit and determined there's probable cause for the charge. Bond's going to remain at 0 at this time, and you'll be transferred to Orange County. Mr. Wasson, anything you'd like to add?
Not this time, Your Honor. One moment.
Sure.
Nothing further, Your Honor. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, Ahmed Gerardo. Good afternoon, sir. Can you state your name and date of birth?
Yeah, Ahmed Gerardo, 11/03/1981.
Okay, Mr. Gerardo, you are here on a arrest warrant for domestic stalking. I'm appointing the public defender to represent you today. Probable cause was previously found in the warrant, and the court has independently reviewed and also determined probable cause exists for the charge. Bond's going to be set at $2,000 with PTR, with pretrial release. As a condition of release, you are not to have any contact with the alleged victim. You are not to own or possess any weapons or firearms. The parties do not reside together, as far as I can tell, but I'll order separate residences. And anything further from the state?
No return to the victim's residence regardless of whether she's there or not.
Sure, no return to the alleged victim's residence. Mr. Wasson?
Yes, Your Honor, just very briefly. My client is indicating that he owns the property at which the incident occurred.
No, the incident didn't occur there. The incident
Okay, Your Honor, the property that's listed on the no return order, he's indicating that he owns it and he's attempting to sell it, and that the alleged victim resides with her mother. He just wants to confirm that he is able to return to that property so long as the alleged victim does not live there currently.
PTR, was there any contact with the victim? It doesn't sound like there was. I'm sorry, Officer Osborne, I couldn't catch that.
There was no contact made with the victim.
Okay. And just so I understand, Mr. Watson, you're saying, and let me look at the, well, what I will order is no contact with the alleged victim and that the parties maintain separate residences. So to the extent that I'm not in a position to determine ownership of property or who's got the right to be there, but if it is in fact your residence and she is not present there, then I presume that that would be okay. State, would you like to be heard on that issue?
No, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Watson, does that clarify the issue?
That solves the answer, yes, Your Honor. My client was just concerned because he received paperwork that said something different, so I've instructed him that he should listen to your order today.
Yes, what I'm ordering is no contact at all with the alleged victim. That means if you have any contact whatsoever, directly, indirectly, you'll be sitting in jail awaiting trial on this charge. It also requires you to maintain separate residences. You cannot reside with that party. So, and as I indicated, no weapons or firearms.
As long as she doesn't live there.
She's not living there. She's living with
Okay,
her.
yeah.
Okay.
Best of luck to you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Chaubert Francois. My French was okay.
How you doing, Your Honor?
Good afternoon, sir. Can you state your name and date of birth?
Robert Francois, April 6, 1992.
All right, sir. I am appointing the public defender to represent you today. You're here on a bench warrant arrest for failure to appear for arraignment. Bond was set at 0. It'll be stayed at 0 at this time.
Your Honor,
Yes, sir.
may I be heard on this issue?
Yes, sir.
So my client provided me with documentation showing that he was actually in the hospital on the day that he was set for whatever hearing he failed to appear at, Your Honor. He's also given me ample paperwork showing that he attempted to contact the public defender's office.
30 times.
Give me 1 second. He's attempted to contact the public defender's office to make them aware of this. And he's also given me paperwork showing that his home that was listed in his court file is currently, was flooded as a result of one of the hurricanes we previously had, Your Honor. I'm wondering whether Your Honor might be amenable to setting a bond for Mr. Francois given these circumstances where he was in the hospital, he attempted to call his attorney, he was unable to call his attorney, and the home that he is addressed at is currently not livable, Your Honor.
And I turned myself in when I figured that out. I came here to turn myself in when I figured out I had a warrant, sir.
Okay. Thank you for that. State, would you any position on that request?
Your Honor, I would just ask for this to be set before the trial judge who set the bond at 0 and issued the warrant to sort out. There's other issues that would need to be addressed as well, which were not noticed for today, such as he was on bond, so the bondsman had notice. So we would just ask that this be set for the trial judge.
Sure. That's my inclination as well, Mr. Wasson, in terms of the ability to fetter out those issues. And I hope that you can get before this division judge as soon as possible. At this time, the bond will remain at what it was set in the warrant, which is 0.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Yes. Just one moment.
He has a court date, January 10th, 8:15 a.m., Form 5A with Judge Nix Walker.
What is that on? It won't be Nix Walker, but what is?
I believe it's going to be Wilson.
Well, no, but what's the court date on?
It's an
on this case or on a?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So you currently have a court date set for January 10th, but obviously if you would like to raise the issue of a bond, you're free to do that on a more expedited basis and see if you can get before the division judge swifter than January 10th. Okay, best of luck to you, sir. Akim Sincere Ferguson. Good afternoon, sir. Can you state your name and date of birth?
Kim Ferguson, January 18, 2000.
All right, Mr. Ferguson, I am appointing the public defender to represent you today. You are here on a bench warrant arrest for failure to appear for a jury trial in case 2021 MM 526. Bond was set at 0. It's going to be stayed at 0 at this time. Okay, best of luck to you, sir.
Thank you.
Public defender pre-trial, February 8th, 8:30 a.m., courtroom 5B.
We only need to do that if they ask. Yeah. All right, Eric Disla?
Your Honor, we'd like to waive reading of the charges in this case.
Okay. Good afternoon, sir. Can you state your name and date of birth?
Good afternoon, Your Honor. My name is Eric. My last name is Disla.
All right, Mr.
September 22nd, 93. I'm sorry.
That's all right, Mr. Disla. I'm appointing the public defender to represent you today. You're here on a warrant arrest. Probable cause was previously found. Bond is going to be set at $5,000. As a condition of bond, you are not to have any contact with the alleged victim, maintain separate residences, and no weapons or firearms. Anything further from the state?
No, Your Honor.
Defense?
Your Honor, my client just indicated that he does currently reside with the alleged victim. He would ask for Your Honor if he would do a no hostile contact with the alleged victim, if he would be so amenable.
Is there, I don't want to get into the nature of the
Yes, Your Honor.
charges since they've been waived, but is there some separate proceeding that's ongoing relative to,
Not at this time, Your Honor, no.
okay,
I have custody of my son. That's what it is, sir.
okay. Is there nobody, where is he now?
Give me 1 second, Your Honor. If you
Sure.
Your Honor, my client has indicated that he still has custody of the alleged victim, and as far as I'm aware, and he is aware, there is no processes in the motion to change that fact. As far as he's aware, the alleged victim has nowhere else to go because he still has custody of him.
But presumably he's somewhere now. I hope he's not by himself. And if you want to talk to your lawyer, can. I just want to make sure.
Your Honor, he's either with my client's spouse or a ward of the state at this moment, Your Honor. He's not positive. Obviously, my client was arrested.
Well,
He's not sure what happened after that.
State, would you like to be heard on this issue?
Your Honor, yes, the state would absolutely object to any kind of contact at this point. While these charges are pending and certainly whatever other investigations may be open, we would object to any contact at all. We would ask that they not be allowed to reside together until this is all further investigated and resolved.
Yeah. So So I'm going to do a no contact order as previously indicated, and separate residences and no weapons. If there are, obviously, if there's a, I don't know if there's a separate domestic case where that needs to be addressed, or if there's issues relative to, you know, where the alleged victim will be, bring that up with the division judge as soon as possible. But at this time, I don't have sufficient information to permit the parties to permit residents, separate, the same residence or contact of any nature at this time. So anything further, Mr. Wasson?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
All right. Mr. Paul?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
Best of luck to you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
All right, William Thomas Cook. Good afternoon, sir. Can you state your name and date of birth?
Yes, William Thomas Cook, Jr., 6/11/1969.
Okay, Mr. Cook, I am appointing the public defender to represent you today. You are here on a charge of violation of probation. Bond was set previously at 0. It's going to remain at 0. Anything further from the state?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
Mr. Wasson?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Best of luck, Mr. Cook. Stacy Ann Browning. Good afternoon, ma'am. Can you state your name and date of birth?
Stacy Browning, October 4, 2000.
Okay, Ms. Browning, I'm appointing the public defender to represent you today. You're here on a warrant arrest for violation of probation in case 22MM160. Bond was set at 0. It's going to remain at 0 at this time. Okay, best of luck, Ms. Browning. I'm going to call him last, Mr. Hodges. I'm going to call Mr. Hodges last.
Okay.
So we're going to go next to Leon Earl Addison. Good afternoon, sir. Can you state your name and date of birth?
Leon Earl Addison, 9/16/1977.
All right, Mr. Addison, I'm appointing the public defender to represent you today. You are here on a charge of petty theft. I have reviewed the charging affidavit and determined that there is probable cause for the charge. I'm going to set a bond at $250 and require, as a condition of release, no return to the scene of the alleged crime. State have a position on either of the two open cases, the failure to register and the domestic battery case?
I did not receive those, Your Honor. He was out on bond for those offenses.
It appears that he was out on bail on both of those offenses.
We would ask, Your Honor, then the any forms of pretrial release, including bond, be revoked on those cases based on the court finding probable cause in this case.
Mr. Wasson, would you like to be heard on that?
I would like to be heard on it, Your Honor, but I have no information to base an argument on, unfortunately, Your Honor. We would ask that any kind of determination based on that, those other charges be set for another day.
I'm not going to take any action on the open cases at this time, so you can raise that with the division judge. You know, had the charges been of a nature similar in kind, I might have taken action, but I'm not going to take action at this time on the open cases. Anything further, Mr. Paul?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
Mr. Wasson?
No, Your Honor.
All right, best of luck to you, Mr. Addison. All right. Michael Joseph Galland. Good afternoon, sir. Can you state your name and date of birth?
Michael Joseph Goland, 4/5/1965.
All right, Mr. Galland, I'm appointing the public defender to represent you today. You are here on a charge of aggravated battery with a deadly weapon. I guess the one question I had on this case, a metal chair, Mr. Paul, does that meet the standard of a deadly weapon? I mean, at a minimum, there's probable cause for a battery, but it may help me out with the aggravated nature of it.
Your Honor, the case law states that for certain objects, it depends on, obviously, the composition, what it's made of, and then how it's used. So in this case, if a metal chair is thrown at someone, and in this case actually did make contact, the manner in which it was used is likely to result in death if it's used in a certain way. So based on the fact that it was a metal chair, and in the manner in which it was used, the substance of which it's made, there is probable cause that in this instance, the object was a deadly weapon.
Threw a metal chair, hitting her in her right side. Deadly? Mr. Wasson, yeah.
Yes, Your Honor. I would just say that there's no indication on the police report how hard Mr. Galland threw the chair. There's no indication of how he threw the chair. There's no indication of the size of the chair. I would definitely argue that a metal chair could be light. We have no idea what the composition of the chair, whether it was hollow metal or what have you, Your Honor. I think that it pushes the envelope to say that that's a deadly weapon, Your Honor.
It's mostly semantic what we're talking about in any event. I'm going to find probable cause for a battery, which is a lesser included, and if the state believes that they can charge the aggravated nature of the crime, they're free to charge that. I'm going to set a bond at $2,500. And as a condition of bond, sir, you're not to have any contact with the alleged victim. You are not to return to the scene of the alleged crime, and you are not to own or possess any weapons or firearms. And I will order that bond with PTR. Anything further, Mr. Paul?
No, Your Honor. Thank you very much.
Mr. Wasson?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you. Best of luck to you, sir. Priscilla Martinez. Good afternoon, ma'am. Can you state your name and date of birth?
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Priscilla Martinez, August 8, 1982.
Okay. All right, ma'am. I'm appointing the public defender to represent you today. You're here on a charge of battery, touching, or striking, domestic in nature. I have reviewed the charging affidavit and determined that there is probable cause for the charge. We have the alleged victim present, so I'm going to inquire. Sir, can you state your name for us?
Michael Rosado.
Okay. Can you raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Okay. Are you the alleged victim in this case? If Ms. Martinez is released on bond, do you wish to have any contact with her?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have any concerns that if you are permitted to have contact, that you could be in danger of becoming a victim?
No.
Would you hesitate at all to contact law enforcement if something occurred which caused you concern for your own safety?
I won't hesitate.
Okay. Mr. Paul, would you like to inquire at all?
Just one follow-up, Your Honor. For the witness, do you...
Just make sure you're speaking in the mic so they can hear you.
Yes. Yes.
Mr. Wasson, any questions for this alleged victim?
No, Your Honor.
All right, so I'm going to set a bond at $500 as a condition of release. You are not, that's with PTR. As a condition of release, you are not to have any hostile contact with the alleged victim. What that means is you will be permitted to have contact, you will be permitted to reside together, but if you so much as raise your voice, you run the risk at being in violation of your conditions of release and potentially awaiting trial in jail. So Anything that could remotely be considered hostile contact is in violation of the conditions of release. If something occurs which causes you concern, you need to report that so that that can be addressed and there's no further problems. You are not to consume any alcohol while on release as a condition, and you are not to have any weapons or firearms. Anything further, Mr. Paul?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
Mr. Wasson?
No, Your Honor.
All right, thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. Best of luck.
Thank you.
Michael Miraglia?
And I will have a probable cause argument for this, Your Honor.
Okay. Good afternoon, sir. Can you state your name and date of birth?
Michael Miraglia, 10/8/96.
Okay, Mr. Miraglia, I am appointing the public defender to represent you today. You're here on a charge of resisting arrest without violence. Mr. Wasson?
Yes, Your Honor. My probable cause argument is pretty short. Simply, Mr. Miraglia saw officers, and according to the police affidavit, the arrest affidavit, he ran after seeing the officers. There's no indication that he was told to stop before he started running, Your Honor. There's no indication that he would have been able to hear them after he started running. There's no indication that he heard a lawful order and then failed to follow that order, Your Honor.
Mr. Paul?
Your Honor, even assuming the characterization, taking the characterization of the defense for what it is, at some point it says, this is on page 2 on the 3rd paragraph, the last sentence, officers continued to yell at Miraglia to stop during their chase. So at some point he's given lawful commands to stop and he continues to run.
Just a moment. Let me peruse this one more time.
Your Honor, just a quick response.
Yes, Mr. Wasson.
There's no indication of how far away Mr. Miraglia was when he was given that, supposedly given that order. You know, he could have been 50 yards, he could have been a mile. There's no indication of how much of a head start he got or how much faster he was than the officers. He's as fast as Usain Bolt. He could have been quite a ways away.
It's on the borderline, but I'm going to find probable cause for the charge. Officer Osborne, does the defendant, he qualifies for direct PTR, is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, so I'm going to order direct pretrial release with no bond. Anything further, Mr. Paul?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
Mr. Wasson?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
All right, best of luck to you, sir. All right, Jonathan Monroig. Good afternoon, sir. Can you state your name and date of birth?
Jonathan Monroy, 2497.
All right, sir. I am appointing the public defender to represent you today. You're here on a charge of aggravated battery with a deadly weapon. I've reviewed the charging affidavit and determined that there is probable cause for the charge. I'm going to set a bond at $100,000 as a condition of bond of release. That'll be with pretrial release. As a condition, you are not to have any contact with any of the alleged victims, no contact with any of the co-defendants, no return to the scene of the alleged crime, and no weapons or firearms. Anything further, Mr. Paul?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
Mr. Wasson?
One moment, Your Honor.
Sure.
Your Honor, I have one, my client has indicated that he is employed at a location near that, near where the event supposedly happened. We wonder whether he might be able to, if he is able to make bond, if he is able to return to lawful employment, Your Honor, so he can, provide for himself.
Well, I'm not ordering that he not go, I think the order just prohibits it from going from the actual scene. Are you saying that it was actually where he's employed, or is it close by?
It seems to be that he's accused of committing the crime in the actual where he's employed, Your Honor.
Okay. I'm going to include no return at this time. If there's an issue, if that employer would like you to return to work, and you can file a motion with the division judge to have the conditions modified.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay, best of luck, sir. All right. William Jude Rafferty. Good afternoon, sir. Can you state your name and date of birth?
William Rafferty, November 21st, 1997.
All right, Mr. Rafferty, I'm appointing the public defender to represent you today. You're here on a charge of battery, felony battery. I've reviewed the charging affidavit and determined that there is probable cause for the charge. Bond's going to be set at $5,000. As a condition of bond, you are not to have any contact with the alleged victim. You're not to have any weapons or firearms. You must maintain separate residences. Anything further, Mr. Paul?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
Mr. Watson?
Nothing further, Your Honor.
All right, best of luck, Mr. Rafferty.
Thank you.
All right, Michael Angelo Romero. Good afternoon, sir. Can you state your name and date of birth?
Michael Angelo Romero, 06/22, 1996.
All right, Mr. Romero, I'm appointing the public defender to represent you today.
Yes, sir.
You're here on a charge of aggravated battery with a deadly weapon. I've reviewed the charging affidavit and determined that there is probable cause for the charge. Mr. Watson, anything you want to?
Yes, Your Honor. After reviewing and speaking to my client, I guess, Your Honor, my question is whether or not Mr. Romero should be charged for a primary, or rather as an accessory to this crime, Your Honor. After reading the affidavit, it was quite lengthy, Your Honor, and I'm sorry to make you have to go through the whole thing again. But
That's what we're here for.
It does seem that, to me, that the accusation is more that Mr. Romero was a secondary to the crime itself being committed allegedly by another person, Your Honor.
Mr. Paul, any guidance you can provide from your perspective?
Your Honor, on the first page of the charging affidavit, it is handwritten in, principal in the first degree.
I did see that.
And they also include with firearm, and based under the law, and included the statute cited there, 777.011. Someone who's a principal in the first degree is accountable in the same way as the person who actually committed the offense. So as far as,
can y'all just point me, well, is there anywhere y'all can point me in the four corners of the affidavit regarding Mr. Romero's alleged involvement? I had it highlighted and in the other one, but I don't. take as much time as you need. I'm not. There's a lot of names.
Your Honor, I'm not sure how much help this actually is, but the only place I can see Mr. Romero's name even being mentioned is page 4 in relation to his vehicle being found at, not being found, but in his driveway. I don't even see, I don't see where Mr. Romero's statement was taken or.
There's another reference on page 4 in the, towards the conclusion when there's discussion regarding the statement of Mr. Santana.
Yes.
And is the Toyota RAV4, is that the same vehicle that was rented? Or it's what it looks like, so if you.
Yes, and also what's helped, Your Honor, I'm not sure, it's used at least once, but then he has an AKA of Guapo as well.
I saw that. I didn't see any guapos. Oh, there are some guapos on page 5.
Your Honor, I would argue, even if it's the same type of car, there's no indication in the arrest affidavit that, as far as I can read, Your Honor, and again, I can't claim to have the firmest grasp of this narrative, but there's no indication to me that a check was done to ensure that it is the same exact car in both instances, just because it is the same type of car. Many people own this type of car.
Well, in the fifth paragraph on page 4 or 5 of the affidavit, it mentions that Juan Santana says that he jumped in the silver Toyota RAV4 with Michael Romero and Jonathan Monroy, who the court previously conducted a magistrate hearing with, to go assist Dakota. And they were all going for the purpose of a fight, of a confrontation.
Right.
Which,
with the vehicle being rented. that same vehicle
Yes.
being rented to Mr. Romero. Let me just finish on page 5 as well. Of course, never mind. So we're to. I'm going to find probable cause for the charge based off of the affidavit. I'm going to set a bond at $50,000 as a condition of bond. Mr. Romero is not to have any contact with the alleged victims, not to have any contact with the co-defendants, not to return to the scene of the alleged crime, and may not possess any weapons or firearms. Mr. Wasson, anything further?
Nothing further, Your Honor. Thank you.
Mr. Paul?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
Best of luck, sir. All right. Cornelius Walls? Good afternoon, sir. Can you state your name and date of birth?
This was June 29, 2004.
All right, Mr. Walls, I am appointing the public defender to represent you today. You are here on, you have two cases. On the first case, 2022 CF 3581, the charges are robbery, sudden snatching, grand theft auto, battery, touching or striking, and resisting arrest without violence. I have reviewed the charging affidavit and determined there is probable cause for those charges. We have, I believe, the alleged victim present. Ma'am, can you state your name for me?
My name is Tammy Brown. I'm his mother, but I'm not a victim.
Okay, you're not the alleged victim.
Well, they say I'm a victim, but I'm not a victim.
All right. Well, why don't I swear you in real quick? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give today is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And are you, state your name for us.
My name is Tammy Brown.
Okay. Are you the alleged victim?
Yes, sir.
Okay. If Mr., do you reside with Mr. Walls?
Yes, he's my son, yes.
Okay. If he is released, do you wish to have any contact with him?
Yes, sir.
Do you have any concerns that if he is permitted to have contact with you, that you may be in danger in any way?
No, sir.
Okay. Would you hesitate to contact law enforcement if something occurred which caused you concern for your own safety?
No.
All right,
I will not hesitate.
Any from the state? Any questions?
And you're okay with him living with you?
Oh, yes, sir.
Okay. Mr. Walston, any questions? All right. So I'm gonna set bond on the robbery count at $1,000, grand theft $1,000, on the battery count $500, and on the resisting count $250. As a condition of those of release, Mr. Walls, you are not to have any hostile contact with the alleged victim. That means you can have contact, you can live in the same residence, but you cannot so much as raise your voice. If you do something that is potentially concerning or threatening to the safety of the alleged victim, you may be in violation of your conditions of release and potentially sitting in jail awaiting trial on these charges. So it's critical that if something occurs which causes you concern, that you let the proper authorities know so that, number one, you're safe, and number two, that this no hostile contact order can be enforced. You are not to have any weapons or firearms also as a condition of release. On the second case, is case 22 CF 3582. The charge is fleeing and eluding law enforcement with lights and sirens activated. I've reviewed the charging affidavit and determined that there is probable cause for that charge as well. And I'm going to set a bond on that charge at $500. Anything further from the state?
Yes, Your Honor. It appears that, just for everyone's knowledge, there's also an open juvenile case, and there was some kind of a custody order issued on January 12th, 2022, and so he may be further detained or moved about to deal with that, I suppose.
Okay.
And that case number is 22 CJ10.
Okay. Mr. Wasson, anything further regarding that or any other issue? All right, so when you say further detained, you're just letting us know, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
You don't need anything from me in that regard?
No, Your Honor.
All right, just making sure. All right, Mr. Wallace, best of luck to you, and best of luck to you as well, ma'am. Yes, ma'am, do you have something?
Oh, yes, sir. So what does that mean when it's a hold on him, or what? I don't understand.
So I can't give you legal advice. The state might be able to answer some of your questions, or victims advocates may be able to help with that if you have questions about what's going to happen with respect to the open juvenile case.
Oh, okay.
Okay?
Thank you, Your Honor.
Yeah, it was
Your Honor, I would request we go back to Jalen Hodges.
okay, one moment, please.
Thank you so much.
It was 1,000, 1,000, 500, and 250. I'm sorry, who did you request?
Jalen Hodges.
Taylor Hodges?
Jalen
Okay.
Hodges, Your Honor.
Jalen?
Jalen, yes, Your Honor.
Okay, let me find that. Which one was that? Okay. Oh, that's the last one. I haven't called that yet.
Yes, Your Honor. I would request we do it next.
Okay, all right. We can do that now.
Thank you so much.
All right, good afternoon, sir. Can you state your name and date of birth?
Jalen Hodges, 01/17/2002.
All right, Mr. Hodges, I am appointing the public defender to represent you today. You're here on a lot of arrest warrants, so I'm gonna deal with them one by one. In case 22 CF 3258, arrest warrant for burglary to an unoccupied vehicle and petty theft. Bond was set at, I'm sorry, this is for him? Yes. Okay, bond was set at $1,500 on count one and $250 on count two. It'll be stayed at that amount. In case 22 CF 3252, you're here on an arrest warrant for burglary to an unoccupied vehicle and petty theft. Count one, bond will be stayed at $1,500. Count two, bond will be stayed at $250. And just to be clear, probable cause was previously found for each of these arrest warrants based off of the judge signing the arrest warrant. On case 22 CF 3242, burglary to an unoccupied vehicle and petty theft. Count one, bond will be stayed at $1,500. Count two, bond will be stayed at $250. On case 22 CF 3231, count one, burglary to an unoccupied vehicle. Count two, petty theft. Count one, bond will be stayed at $1,500. Count two, bond will be stayed at $250. Case 22 CF 3265, burglary to an unoccupied vehicle and grand theft. Bond on count one will be stayed at $1,500. Count two, $500. Case 22 CF 3267, count 1, burglary to an unoccupied vehicle, count 2, petty theft, and count 3, theft of a credit card. Bond set at $1,500 on the burglary, $250 on the petty theft, and $250 on the theft of a credit card. Case 22 CF 3262, burglary to unoccupied vehicle, count 1, bond stayed at $1,500. Count 2, petty theft, bond stayed at $250. Count 3, theft of a credit card, bond stayed at $250. Case 22 CF 3250, arrest warrant for armed burglary to a vehicle, petty theft, and grand theft of a firearm. Bond on the armed burglary set at $5,000. It stayed at $5,000. Count 2 stayed at $250. Count 3 stayed at $1,000. Case 22 CF 3266, count 1, burglary to an unoccupied vehicle. Count 2, petty theft. Count 3, burglary to unoccupied vehicle. Count 4, petty theft. Bond on count 1 stayed at $1,500. Count 2, $250. Count 3, $1,500. Count 4, $250. All stayed at the same amounts as included in the warrant. Case 22 CF 3260, count 1, burglary to an unoccupied vehicle. Count 2, grand theft. Bond stayed on count 1 at $1,500 and count 2 at $500. Case 2022 CF 3255, count 1, burglary to an unoccupied vehicle. Count 2, grand theft. Bond stayed at $1,500 for count 1 and at $500 for count 2. Case 2022 CF 3244, burglary to an unoccupied vehicle. Count 1, count 2, criminal mischief. Bond stayed at $1,500 for count 1, at $500 for count 2. Case 2022 CF 3253, count 1, burglary to an unoccupied vehicle. Count 2, petty theft. Count 3, grand theft auto. Bond stayed at $1,500 for count 1, $250 for count 2, and $1,000 for count 3. Case 2022 CF 3263, count 1 count of burglary to unoccupied vehicle attempted. Bond will be stayed at $1,000. Count 2022 CF 3264, or excuse me, case 2022 CF 3264. The charge is attempted burglary to an unoccupied vehicle. Bond will be stayed at $1,000. Case 2022 CF 3254, attempted burglary to an unoccupied vehicle. Bond will be stayed at $1,000. Case 2022 CF 3237, attempted burglary to an unoccupied vehicle. Bond will be stayed at $1,000. Case 2022 CF 3259, 2 counts of attempted burglary to an unoccupied vehicle. Bond will be stayed at $1,000 for count 1 and $1,000 for count 2. Case 2022 CF 3257, 1 count of burglary to an attempted burglary to an unoccupied vehicle. Bond will be stayed at $1,500. And case 22 CF 3256, 1 count of armed burglary to a vehicle, 1 count of grand theft of firearm, 1 count of armed burglary to a vehicle, and another count of grand theft of firearm. Bond will be stayed for count 1 at $5,000, count 2 $1,000, count 3 $5,000, and count 4 $1,000. Anything further from the state on this case, these cases?
Your Honor, for each of these cases, we would also ask for a condition of no return to any of these locations as a condition of bond. And no contact with
any of the alleged victims. I will, well, Mr. Wasson, would you like to be heard on that issue?
Your Honor, I would just there are a lot of charges, and it's spread over a very wide geographic range. I would be concerned that it's such a wide range that Mr. Hodges' movement would be so restricted that it would be impossible for him to know specifically where and when he's not allowed to go. Is my only concern, Your Honor.
That's a little bit of mine too, in terms of the kind of setting a trap. Any thoughts to help me out with that, Mr. Paul? Seems like this is something that spans quite a broad area.
I'm reserving my comments. So no, nothing further, Your Honor.
All right. If you think there's maybe some tailored conditions that can be included to provide that level of protection, feel free to raise that with the division judge. I'm not going to include any at this time. Yeah, Mr. Wasson, anything further?
Nothing further.
All right. Best of luck to Mr. Hodges.
I mean, if you can do that level of math in your head, you're welcome to. Yeah. That's a lot. Oh, you gotta talk to your attorney. Can you get an attorney, talk to them about it?
All right. Demarius Kashan Hart.
Your Honor, we would waive the reading of these charges.
Good afternoon, sir. Can you state your name and date of birth?
Demarius Hart, 12903.
Okay, Mr. Hart, I am appointing the public defender to represent you today. This is a warrant, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. You're here on a warrant arrest. Probable cause was previously found. Bond is going to be stayed at the amounts included in the warrant. So on count one, $100,000, count two, $100,000, count three, $100,000, and count four, $50,000. Anything further with the same conditions in terms of no contact with the alleged victim? And was there any additional conditions included in the warrant?
There were, Your Honor. No contact with any witness, no contact with any minors.
I'm going to keep those conditions at this time as well. No contact and no contact with any witnesses. Mr. Wasson, anything further?
Nothing further, Your Honor.
All right. Best of luck to you, Mr. Hart.
I'm sorry, Your Honor. Pre-trial release, Crystal Osborne. Are you also doing the no contact with any minors?
Yes.
Okay.
Does he qualify for PTR?
No, Your Honor, due to the nature of
Nature. Okay, gotcha. All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Your Honor. I believe that's all we have, Your Honor.
I have a reset for Jessica Jenkins.
Yes, Your Honor. She refused.
Okay. Do you want to reset or do you want to waive?
We should probably reset, Your Honor. I believe she's in medical.
Okay.
It's her second time refusing, though, Your Honor, so.
Yeah. Well, we can do one more reset until tomorrow, and we'll see what we can do then.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Wasson. Have a wonderful day.
You too. Thank you.
Mr. Wasson, was that, I apologize, let me just clarify on Ms. Jenkins. Is she in medical or did she refuse?
I think she refused. I don't think she's in medical.
Okay.
She's detoxing, Your Honor, so she refused because she's detoxing.
All right. Did you catch that? All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Your Honor. Have a great day.